The river Oshira shimmered like melted silver under the moonlight, hiding secrets older than the oldest baobab tree. Deep beneath its surface lived Ebony, the youngest daughter of the river clan. While the other mermaids braided their hair with pearls and sang songs of tide and storm, Ebony would drift toward the surface, listening to the distant rhythm of human drums carried through the water. She was not like her sisters. Where they saw danger, she saw wonder. One evening, as twilight painted the river gold, Ebony noticed a small canoe overturned near the reeds. A young human boy splashed helplessly, swallowed by the current. Without thinking of laws or consequences, she darted upward. Her glowing tail sliced through the water as she pushed the boy toward the muddy bank. With one final surge, she lifted him high enough for his fingers to grip the roots of a mangrove tree. Hidden beneath the surface, she watched him cough and cry for his mother. She smiled. But she was not alone. From the dark water behind her, pale blue eyes opened. One of her sisters had seen everything. By dawn, whispers swirled through the underwater kingdom. The Mer Queen's voice boomed like distant thunder. You touched a human. You chose the land over your own blood. Ebony's heart pounded. I chose to save a life. The river does not forgive betrayal. The water trembled. The sentence was clear. By nightfall, 3 of her sisters would haunt her, and her fate would be sealed beneath the depths. When darkness came, the river turned restless. Glowing figures streaked through the current as Ebony fled toward the forbidden shallows. The sacred mangrove roots lay at the river's edge, a place of legend whispered among young mermaids. If one reached the roots at the first light of dawn, the river itself could transform her. Behind her, the hunters summoned swirling currents. Water serpents formed from foam and shadow. Ebony's lungs burned though she did not breathe as humans did. She could feel her sisters gaining. You cannot escape who you are, one of them cried. With the moon sinking low, Ebony saw the mangrove roots ahead, twisting like giant fingers reaching into the sky. She gathered every ounce of strength in her body and shot forward. A whirlpool caught her tail, dragging her backward. She screamed, twisting free, scales tearing and shimmering in the dark. Just as the first streak of sunlight touched the horizon, Ebony launched herself from the river. She landed hard on the muddy shore. Behind her, the water rose like a wall as her sisters reached for her. But the sunlight struck her tail, and it began to glow. The scales dissolved into light. Pain surged through her as her tail split and reshaped. Where a tail had been, 2 trembling legs lay in the mud. The river fell silent. The mermaids shrieked in fury but could not cross onto land. The Mer Queen herself rose from the depths, her crown glinting like coral. You are no longer ours, she declared coldly. Exhausted and shaking, Ebony crawled away from the water until darkness claimed her. When she awoke, the scent of wood smoke filled her nose. She lay on a woven mat inside a small forest hut. Sunlight slipped through the thatched roof. A young hunter sat nearby, carefully sharpening a spear. His name was Kato. At dawn he had found her unconscious beneath a baobab tree, her skin glowing faintly like river mist. When her eyes fluttered open, he did not scream or run. Instead, he offered her water in a carved wooden cup. You are safe, he said gently. Her voice trembled. Please, don't take me back. Kato studied her for a long moment. He had grown up respecting the spirits of forest and river. He knew this girl was something more than ordinary. But he also saw fear in her eyes. I protect what is haunted, he replied. The days that followed were filled with small miracles. Ebony learned to stand, wobbling and laughing when she fell. Kato showed her how to walk across fallen logs, how to grind cassava, how to feel the warmth of fire without fear. She marveled at everything, the roughness of bark, the sweetness of roasted maize, the tickle of grass between her toes. At night, she sang soft river lullabies. Fireflies gathered, flickering in rhythm. Kato would watch her from the doorway, realizing the forest seemed to breathe easier when she smiled. But the river had not forgotten. One evening, dark clouds rolled across the sky. The river Oshara swelled violently, water spilling over its banks. Villagers shouted as huts near the shore began to flood. Children cried. Canoes snapped loose from their ropes. From the raging waters, the Mer Queen rose once more, towering and radiant with fury. "You cannot hide from the river's claim," her voice thundered. Keto grabbed the spear and stood before Ebony. His legs trembled, but he did not step aside. Ebony touched his shoulder gently. "This is my storm," she whispered. She walked toward the floodwater. Each step felt both heavy and certain. The river surged around her ankles, then her knees. The villagers gasped. Facing the Mer Queen, Ebony lifted her chin. "I chose kindness," she called out. "I chose to save a life. If loving the world above makes me different, then let me be different." The river's strength is not in fear, it is in giving. The storm howled for a long moment. Then silence fell. The Mer Queen looked beyond Ebony and saw the villagers, including the young boy who had once nearly drowned. He clung to his mother's hand, alive because of her. Slowly, the queen lowered her trident. "The river does not lose a daughter who follows her true current," she said quietly. "You are no longer bound to us, but neither are you our enemy." The raging waters began to calm. The flood receded back into its banks. As the queen vanished beneath the surface, a single shimmering scale floated toward Ebony, settling gently against her shoulder before fading into her skin like a silver birthmark. The clouds parted. Seasons passed. Ebony and Keto built their home near the edge of forest and river. She taught the villagers to respect the water's moods, when to fish and when to wait. The river flowed peacefully, generous and calm. Nets returned heavy with fish. Crops grew strong. And sometimes, at sunset, when the sky turned gold and violet, silver shapes could be seen dancing beneath the surface, no longer hunters, but watchers. One evening, Keto squeezed Ebony's hand as they stood by the shore. "Do you miss the deep waters?" he asked softly. Ebony smiled, feeling both the earth beneath her feet and the quiet pulse of the river in her heart. "I never left," she said. "The water lives in me, and now, so does the land."